What she was thinking all night? It was ridiculous. She was old enough to be his mama. But she wanted him. She stayed glued to her spot, the dish frozen in her hand. He gently took it from her, placing it back into the sink. He touched her hip and she turned around to face him. She opened her mouth to say something, anything to him, but his black eyes silenced her. She felt her arms slipping around him and his lips touching hers. She tasted the tough meat and the sweet eggnog on his lips and wanted to bite him, to taste his tongue around her own. He pulled away and looked at her for a moment, as if wondered what she would do next. She traced his scar from his cheek to his mouth with the tip of her finger, as he slowly started unbuttoning her blouse, cupping her breast through the stiff cotton of her bra. She let her hands slide down his shoulders, then to the hard muscles on his back, down to his ass. Finally, she reached for the stiffness in his pants. He took her hand and led her to the living room. Gabriel, and whatever he may have seen and heard, evaporated from her mind. She lay on the couch and Juan hovered over her, his tongue tracing the line of her collarbone. He gently slipped out of her blouse and her bra, and then his tongue grazed the tips of her nipples. They hardened in his mouth, and he pushed them together, swishing between them as he sucked them harder. She arched her back, pushing herself closer to him. His tongue traveled lightly down her body, like a breeze that drifts through soft waves at sunrise. When he reached her belly, he paused, kissing it as if to venerate her loose skin, to declare her ripples beautiful. She felt like he already knew her body, like no man had before. She fought the urge to cling to him tightly. She felt vulnerable, a swimmer lost at sea. His tongue made tiny circles on the outsides of her thin cotton panties, teasing the fabric, then slipping through the elastic at her crotch. She felt her whole body vibrating. She stayed absolutely still, afraid she'd open her eyes and he'd disappear. Then he stopped. "What do you want, Nina?" She slid off her panties and pulled her skirt up, pulling them toward her by his neck, until his tongue plunged deeper, teasing her clit as it rode the wave of flesh between its tip and her opening. Her body shook harder. Then he took her clit in the folds beneath in his mouth and sucked her, until she almost felt faint. She pushed him away. She longed to taste him. She pushed him down and unzipped his pants, taking his thick bottle in her hand. She bent her head and slipped it into her mouth. He tasted like the green salsa her mother had made, sweet with the sharp bite of chile underneath. She hovered over him. She rubbed his palo against her opening. She no longer recognized herself. She was some kind of a wild vieja possessed by a demon even her mother would not have been able to resist. She thrust him inside as far as he would go. She rode him quickly, then slowly, moving with him in a fevered shake as if they were dancing to the wild congas of a fast merengue song. As she was about to come, their eyes locked, and she slowed the desperate motion of her hips. She felt as if a huge block of ice had melted inside of her. He came seconds before she did. She pulled her hips hard against him and held her there. Her body shook as if it were erupting from its skin, and she came all over him. She immediately pulled herself off him and jumped off the couch. What did she just do? She looked at Juan in shock. He was still lying there with a smile on his face. What would he say to his friends about this trip? Did he think he was just one of those horny madres that uses her son's friends for fun on lonely nights? Could Gabriel have possibly slept through this insane pornografia? She pulled down her skirt and sat on the other side of the couch. She primly locked her knees together. She felt humiliation burn inside of her. "You must be tired," she said formally, not recognizing her own voice. "Would you like a té de manzanilla to help you sleep?" At first he just looked flabbergasted. His pants were still open, and the aftermath of their adventure still covering his mouth. Then he pounced on top of her, pushing her back down on the couch as if she hadn't said anything, his wide, easy smile filling up his face. She couldn't help but giggle at his blatant shamelessness. "You know," he said, "this ain't gonna be no one-time thing."